Hello everyone, this is Johannes.
And this is Sandoval.
And you are watching Board Gaming Ramblings.
And today we are taking a look at Scholars of the South Tigris.
This is a new game from Garfield Games, designed by Shem Phillips and S.J. McDonald.
It plays from 1 to 4 players in 60 to 90 minutes.
Another Garfield Games game, this time in the South Tigris trilogy of games, and they went with the bigger box again. So this is, I think it makes sense because Wayfarers was the bigger box, which would be weird to put it down, but we love the small boxes from Garfield Games.
We do.
So kind of sad face that are big boxes. Wayfarers of the South Tigris was not one. Is it Tigris or Tigris? I'm unsure.
I don't know.
One of them is probably right, if one of them are right, or else none of them are. It was not a game that we loved.
No.
We thought it was fine. It was an okay game. In the other games from Garfield Games, some we really like I love Raiders of Scythia. We haven't played Raiders of North Sea, but we understood it kind of the same. The Architects of the West Kingdom is really good. So basically, it's been one game in both of these trilogies that we have really liked, and so far Wayfarers was not the one for this trilogy. And now we are going to talk to you about Scholars of the South Tigris, which is why you are here, not to listen to us, but now if you're new to the channel, now you know where we're coming from. We don't love all of the games in this series. Some of them we have liked.
Yep.
None of them we have disliked, I would say.
No, you gave Viscounts a little harsh critique.
Yeah,
I remember.
didn't love that one. Didn't find it very interesting. I might like to play it again, but we'll see. But today we are talking about this one. Scholars of the South Tigris. You are gonna play trying to translate stuff basically into Arabic for the Caliph. That is the main puzzle of the game. You are trying to travel around in the world, finding these scrolls. Traveling around in the world, by the way, is moving around in a circle on a track. And we don't care about themes, so it doesn't matter. But you are trying to then get these scrolls back to the city and then hire translators that knows different languages to translate that scroll into Arabic, which will basically give you points. It's going to give you some core points, and then it's an opportunity to score more points. So the whole game, there is other opportunities for points, and there's other ways to go. Like you can support people who are trying to translate a lot of stuff and try to score points that way. But everything revolves around translating. How the game works is kind of interesting. You are playing an action card. You're playing it on your little action board that looks like this. You're gonna have 4 basic actions, and there's some places where you can do 1 of 2 actions. You're placing a card. The cards have some income, which is important, the order. Other than that, they're not that different. And then you're going to place dice on it, and dice is going to have colors. And then you can mix those colors, if you have say 2 colors and what they mix to, because I don't know anything.
If you have blue and yellow, you can do a green action.
I would have guessed orange, because I have no... No. I think orange needs red. I think and maybe yellow? Yeah. I'm starting to learn. I don't understand anything when it comes to color. This game was kind of hard for my brain. But you get these colors, and you can also color them with different colored workers. And you can also, if you have a red die and you have a red worker, you will up that die up to a 6. So there's different ways to manipulate both the numbers and the colors of the actions you want to take. And then you get to do the actions. The actions are very simple. As I said, you can hire new people. You can move around in the world. You can go up on tracks, because this game is a lot of tracks. And you can translate. Those are basically the 4 basic actions you can do. There's some bonus stuff here and there, but those are basically the things you're going to do in the game. And after the game ends, the player who has the most of these victory points is going to be the one that you can call or declare the winner.
Yes.
I do
declare
bankruptcy. Okay, so this game has some stuff.
Yes.
For example, it has artwork.
Yeah.
Is this artwork that is brand new, or have you seen similar artwork before?
It is a similar style as before. If you have played earlier games in this series,
or just any games by the Miko.
The Miko.
The Miko style, which is a new art style you talked about.
Yes, I love that art style. I think it is a great art style.
Yes.
You know what you get with these games now. I think that the components are of good quality, and I think that, and it also has a segment for this in the rulebook as well. Yeah. They have thought about color deficiency when they have made this game. I have tried to make adjustments to make it easier for color deficient people to differentiate the colors. For example, that they are associated with a symbol and
This one?
like the secondary colors are like transparent, not translucent. I don't transparent. I don't know. Color dyes, and the other ones are more opaque. So I think they've done some good job in that.
Okay, one thing that they're not very good at Garfield is making these inserts.
I don't know what they're
and this is
trying
better
to do.
because Wayfarers had all of these
horrible.
60 different small spaces, so it could take you like an hour to set up the game. If you really want to use the insert, you should just throw it away. And here as well is like all of these, like this has some small growths, but there's nothing that fits down here.
And
like
there's
nothing that fits here.
No, and there's also like you can put something in there, and there's kind of a room for
That's
a
the
card.
thing I said. Yeah, right now the grow. That's the thing I just talked about. If you were listening,
I don't know what the grow.
Yeah, but I was doing this and saying like there's nothing that fits, and you were like, and also there's this thing here where you can't fit anything.
Can you see it?
But yeah, so it's like it's a random insert.
I'm going to throw this away.
Yes.
I don't see the use
if
for
we're
it.
keeping the game, we will throw that away.
Cool.
But other than that, it looks nice.
Oh, I meant the game.
Oh yeah, you throw away the game and just keep the insert.
Yeah.
The game also comes with a rule book, and again, not a fan of the rule books. There's not something about.
We're a fan of rule books.
Yes,
but not
there's
this.
something about. I think it's maybe the font and the layout of these rule books that makes them just not pleasant to read. I will say that this is better because many of the rule books from Garfield games have felt like just being like text.
A wall
of text.
With serifs.
And,
the font have serifs.
And this one even has an appendix that says what things do. After just having to guess what symbols means in most of the games from Garfield games, now we can know what they mean. And actually they have most of the things here. So it's actually very helpful. And the iconography, which has always been good, is still good. So I will say mostly good, getting better.
Yeah.
I will say that. Like, this is the best Garfield Games rulebook I have read. Still not fantastic, but a good rulebook.
And it also has a good play rate.
Yes.
Which I also enjoy. So thumbs up for the play rates as well.
We have played this game with 2 people and with 4 people. The 2 people were us.
Yes.
And the 4 people were us and 2 other
people. Yeah.
Not the same people again. Like, we don't have clones.
No,
would make it easier.
Really nice.
We could just store them in the studio, and whenever we needed to play games, that would be nice.
That would be
if
super
anybody
neat.
has a cloning machine they can send us,
yes.
let us know, and we will give you our address. If you don't have a cloning machine, we will not give you our address. Well, how long was the game?
Our 2-player game took us 90 minutes.
Yes.
And the 4-player game took us 2.5 hours.
That is correct. So, like, a bit more. I feel like if you play it a lot, you can get it down to, like, the 60, 75 minutes with 2 people.
Yeah.
But did you like it with 2 people?
I thought it was more stale with 2 players. It was more like, what do you call it, static. There were less like out in and out different cards basically in rotation.
And this is one of those games that when you're playing with more people, there's more strategies viable. It felt like.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember like exact examples of that from before. We have played many games where I felt like, okay, but with 2, I have to, for example, try to stop you, or I have to do this thing or this thing. But when you're 4 people, there's many people that can do these different things. There's no stopping. That wasn't for this game.
Oh yeah.
But I feel like so. For example, the player who almost won without, like, he translated like 2 scrolls.
Yes.
And other people translated like 4 or 5. And almost got enough points to win without almost doing that part of the game at all.
Yes.
I don't think you would be able to do that in a 2-player game.
I agree. Or you have less ability to do so. I absolutely think. We're going a little into gameplay now.
Yeah, let's talk about the gameplay.
But this is a game that potentially can have. I think there's a lot of interaction in this game. That means that you are setting up both yourself and other people at the same time. So the translator that you hire, you have him available for yourself, but others can also use that person to translate.
They have to pay you a silver.
Yes, which is good, and they will retire more faster.
Yes.
And then that's good for you too. So that's good for other people using your translators. But at the same time, then if you are 2 players, you have to kind of do every step of the motion. In a 4-player game, for example, I can go heavy into just like filling up with these translators and getting a lot of stuff on that, for example.
Because basically how the translators work, it's usually how we do it in our videos. So I explain something without explaining how it works, and I explain how it works.
And then you clarify
afterwards. People are like, I don't know what you mean. Retire, filling up, I don't understand. Hey, it's okay.
Let's go.
When you're placing these translators into rooms, you will get a bonus, and then there's rooms there.
There's rooms.
A space, basically. It's not like you don't need different rooms in your house. Like, I'm gonna go and place this one in the kitchen. No, but you basically, the different spaces you will see in the pictures have different amount of gold on them. And when you hire a translator to do something, you have to put a goal on that person. And then when they fill up, like some need 1, some need 2, some need 3, basically that's the amount of times they will activate before they retire, which then is going to give an ability and an upgraded action to the player who then, and some points to the player who then owns that at the end of the game.
Yes.
Let's talk about stuff in this game.
Yeah.
One thing about this game that is really cool, and I basically spoke a bit about how it worked, was the action selection mechanism.
Yeah.
Like you have the action card, you have the dice, you have the workers that you can translate the colors to try to mix and match to get the things you need. I think that's the most unique part of the game.
Yeah, and I love that some actions, they don't care about the color of the dice.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about that. You have a lot of white dice that doesn't have a color, which means that if you're going to do an action with a color required, you can't do it with just white. But some actions just care about value of the dice, and some only care about the color, for example. Or both.
So I think that is like the main interesting part of the game, like trying to mix max. You can get get an orange die, or you can use a
red die
and a yellow to get orange, for example. Luckily for people like me, there's like a color wheel at the back here, so you can understand, and also basically on the board there's like almost a color wheel. So it's kind of, it's not impossible. If you're like me and you're like not color deficient but color blind, you don't understand color, then you can maybe even play this game. But I feel like that worker, or like that mechanism, is very interesting. It's also very interesting because the rest action, which we know from many Garfield games now, is when you trigger the rest action, which is basically like a reset and get income, you will trigger all of your rest actions from the left to the right. And that is gonna also, like, so important to play that action card, but I want that action card before that because that triggers that bonus, but I want to play it there. So you like have to just remember it's not that interesting because the cards themselves are not different. So if it's not like, oh, I have to play this action card now, but I can't.
Sometimes I am 2 silver short and I need to do that action. I can play then one of the action cards that gives me 2 silver. So I actually am able to do that now. And I like the rest mechanism much more here than in Wayfarers, for example. I liked it a lot here. Sometimes you have all the dice you need, but you have done the actions. They are full. You need to reset to get your actions back, or you have more actions to do, but you don't have any dice, or you don't have the dice you want. So I like that part of the game.
That is true. This is a game, like many Garfield games, you're gonna see similarities.
Yeah.
Like, for example, the example from Raiders of Scythia, you can either play a card or you can discard it for its discard ability. It's kind of the same here. You can hire or you can kind of dismiss them to get the bonus. And in Wayfarers, in Wayfarers as well, you had the influence in the towers. You have that here as well. And I feel like it's kind of a mostly good thing. I think Garfield Games is good at not reinventing the wheel. Like we're taking these things that we took from the other game in the trilogy, and we're doing the same things here, but now we're adding these different things that differentiate the game. Not to say they are similar at all, because they're mostly not similar. It's not like set collecting. There's some set collection here as well in trying to get the specific things, but I enjoy that part, like that there are similarities, but I don't feel like, oh, we're just doing the same thing over and over. How do you feel about that?
I absolutely agree with you. I think that they are great at doing exactly that. But what I also think is really cool in this game, that you think that the actions with the colors and stuff is most unique. I think also what's unique for this game is the interaction that I've just spoke about.
Okay, yeah.
Is that to actually get something translated, you first have to make it available, and someone else can snatch it.
Yes.
And then you have to use your translators, or you can borrow someone else's. And then there are like so many levels of interactions here. I actually think that it reminds me a little bit of the feeling that I got when we played Kutnahora with 4 people. Not the same game at all, but that the points that you're making available doesn't necessarily they don't go to you. You have to do some steps, and you have to hope that somebody else gets an option open for you, or that you get an option open for yourself, or you can benefit of, I know that you want this card, I'm going to get some coins in the process of you getting that.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like it's not like, because as you said, when I, for example, travel to get a card into the tower so that you can now translate it, somebody else can then translate that card. And depending on how you play and how easy those are to translate, you might have a high possibility that others, because you can see the dice they have and it is specific colors to be able to translate in different towers. So it's kind of like you are, if you can see if somebody is a high chance somebody will be able to translate that before your next round.
Yes.
So you can decide okay, is that worth it for me then, or do I want to wait and try to get another one, or do this one, which is harder, but I have enough gold to translate it. If somebody doesn't use the translators before, oh no, you used the translator, they retired, no, I can't use it. And because the translators work like this. Most of the cards, the translators know different words. For example, this translator...
But words also.
This translator now know how to speak Greek, Persian and Syriac, and you have like a tire, so probably this is going to be translating something from Greek to either Persian or Syriac, and then you need to translate it from Persian or Syriac something to something else, and then probably I think
Persian
that is
is
into Arabic, I think. So how that works is that you would need then another translator who could either translate from Persian or Syriac into Arabic, and then you would place a gold on each of them.
Yes.
So you're showing like the line. It's going from Greek to Persian, from Persian to Arabic. Now it's done. I get the card.
Yes.
And it's a very interesting. I haven't seen that thing done before either. And also a lot about it is about moving on tracks. The tracks give you different scorings and also income, which then like triggers in the resting. Because instead of like saying the rest, most of the time it's like rest, get a coin. That might be a thing. But other times it's going to be resting will trigger the green track, and you will get the best bonus you get.
And
on
sometimes if you have good rest abilities, you want to rest a lot.
Yes.
And then if you don't have good rest ability, but you have to play the cards. I did that wrong one time. I wanted to rest, but I didn't play the card that gave me the rest that I wanted. So yeah. But what I also like is that they have taken the same kind of make your own scoring from Wayfarers into this. Is what you basically get point for when you translate these scrolls are different things. You want to pick scrolls that match what you're doing.
But many of them are going to give like 3 points or 4 points or 5 points before the bonuses. So they're going to score you a lot of points. And then if you manage to get some things that works together with it, it's going to score even more points together with that.
I also want to mention that it kind of feels a little harsh when you have, I have picked out this scroll, I'm going to translate this, and somebody takes it. But I have to note then that you have already gotten gold and what you'd call it,
influence?
On the tracks before somebody takes it. So
and also influence when you place it into the towers.
So you get something out of it either way.
It's not like you not get anything, but you would probably have like those points.
Yeah.
I like that there's different ways to score.
Yes.
Like the scrolls are a big way, and then retire. Like the player who almost didn't do any translation, they had a lot of these retired translators, which scores a lot of points. So there's many different routes to go in that as well. There's not like, it doesn't feel like, there's this huge different strategies. No. This game I feel like is more about this one core puzzle, but doing different things inside it.
Yes.
Let's talk a bit about 2 more things. Wait, and who is it for?
Yeah.
And the most important thing, is it fun? And final thoughts.
Yeah.
Wait, and who is it for?
I think this is like a I don't know actually. Like a medium hard.
I would say like I would say it's one of the heavier Garfield games. Like it's most involved one I played. I think we haven't played many of the expansions and stuff.
We played it. I didn't feel familiar to me, so I thought it was much easier to get a hang of it the second time. So it's a little weird, wonky for your brain the first time going into it. I felt
so it's like a medium-heavy game, maybe a bit more complex than the other ones. Don't know exactly. Have been a while since we played the other ones. And I think if you like Garfield games, I think you will enjoy this one. Like it's because it's many of the similarities, but it's still new and fresh stuff here as well.
Yes.
So is it fun? Final thoughts? You want to begin, but before that, if you are new to the channel and you enjoy what we do, then you can help us out in a big way by giving us a victory point.
And we get victory points when you click that subscribe button. You can also click the bell to get notifications every time we post a new video.
Yes, final thoughts. Let's go. You begin.
I think this absolutely is a step up from Wayfarers. They are two different games. I'm not going to compare them too much, but as you said, Garfield games are great at borrowing from their earlier designs. I really think that the interaction is on the higher end from the Garfield
universe.
Yeah, you could say so, but they're great actually at, like, architects have a lot of interactions as well. Wycams also have some interaction. The soft reserve here is much better used than in Wayfarers.
The influence, basically,
that you use to kind of reserve the card, but not, which I enjoyed in this game. I liked how you will mix and match your workers and dice to get the required color for the action that you're trying to achieve, and that the better action requires a secondary color that are harder to actually get. So you have to either have the right die or you have to spend more resources getting it. I thought it was really fun to play this game, and I still have more strategies, or I don't know, ways to explore this game that I haven't done yet. For example, retiring a lot of translators can potentially early in the game give you bonus action when you take actions. I haven't been good at that. I want to try that. It seems hard, but I would love to get that done. So I think this is a great game. I'm going to give it an 8.
Okay, cool. Scholars of the South Tigris is a very fun game. I enjoy it. I really, it's hard. It's hard to get things done. This is one because Garfield games usually are games where you get to do a lot of stuff. And this one didn't feel like that because I was like, oh, maybe I'm going to translate a lot of these scrolls. I translated maybe 4. Or through the whole game. Maybe I'm going to retire lots of these things to get many more actions for my board. 2. And it's one of those, probably we played bad, but it's one of those games where you think you will do a lot and you're not going to end up doing a lot. And if you like that, like I do, it's going to be a fun game. If you want to do like all the things all the time and nobody's going to do anything to destroy for you, you will not like this game. If you are a person who don't want anybody else to be able to destroy your plan, then it's not going to be the game for you because there's many different things. It was many times I had a plan, worked up towards it, finally I can translate it, and right before it's my turn, no, you use that translator, I'm back to 0. And it's frustrating, but also it's a part of the game. The timing is interesting. I enjoy a lot about it. I think for me, I'm going to land on a 7.5.
Cool.
It's a good game. I would like to keep it in the collection if you agree.
Yeah.
And I would like to play it again.
Nice.
And I think that is the end of this video that you've been watching. I'm Johannes.
I'm Sunniva.
Thank you so much for watching. You've been watching Board Gaming Ramblings. And bye-bye.